It all comes down to this at the Summit League Basketball Championships. North Dakota State, number 2 in the conference, taking on South Dakota State, the top seed in the Summit League this season, for the right to advance on to the NCAA National Basketball Tournament. We welcome you into the Denny Sanford Premier Center. Sports Director Braden Byers here with you on KSDJ 90.7. Jordan Raditz alongside me, and Marshall Minahan, can't forget him as well. Both of them to my left here at the Premier Center. A good matchup here today about how people expected things to go here in the Summit League Basketball Championships this year. Number 1 versus number 2, all of the seeds played out. That just means the Summit League got things right, but it's going to be an exciting matchup between these two teams, without a doubt the best two teams in the conference, and we would want it no other way here in the championship game. South Dakota State 26-5 coming into this one. Overall 16-0 in the Summit League, the second year that they've done that in a row. They ran the table, and last year they made it to the NCAA tournament where they defeated USC but ultimately fell to Virginia Tech over in Blacksburg, Virginia. North Dakota State behind them. It's looking to be a great matchup, as I said, between the two teams. We take our first break here on KSDJ 90.7, and when we come back, we'll have a deeper dive into what both of these teams are looking at, and we'll get you set for this one here. Summit League Basketball Championship title game. It's Title Tuesday here in Sioux Falls. We'll be back right after this.
They are our cuddlers and coworkers, purr machines and love bugs, and constant companions. They are our pets, our family, and they make life so much better. When we face unexpected challenges in life, so do our pets. That's why we're on a mission to support people who love their pets, and the pets who love their people, ensuring these families stay exactly where they belong, together. And you have something to offer. With an open heart and mind, there is nothing you can't do. There's no gesture too small or too big when it comes to helping. Whether donating a bag of kibble, sharing an Instagram post of a lost cat, or welcoming a foster pet into your home, every bit of kindness counts. You can help keep pets and people together. Visit petsandpeopletogether.org to learn how to be a helper in your community. This has been a public service announcement brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
Walking into the building for the first time after the shooting, it was crippling, but it had to be preserved.
In response to the Pulse nightclub shooting that affected the LGBTQ community, Barbara Poma, owner of Pulse, founded the One Pulse Foundation to honor Pulse victims and survivors.
If you're an ally of this community, speak out. There are more of us together than apart. It is the power of love in its rawest form.
Join the fight for LGBTQ acceptance. Learn how at lovehasnolabels.com. Brought to you by Love Has No Labels and the Ad Council.
Hey, wouldn't it be great if life came with a remote control? You know, you could hit pause when you needed to, or hit rewind. Like that time you knocked down that wasp's nest.
Uh-oh.
Or that time you forgot to roll up your windows in the car wash.
Fantastic.
Yeah, a remote control would have come in handy then. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome. But prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes like managing your weight, getting active, stopping smoking, and eating healthier, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. It's easy to learn your risk. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Life doesn't come with a remote control. Yikes! So you're on your own with the wasps. You have the power to take control of prediabetes. Visit doihaveprediabetes.org today. That's doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
If I could be you.
And you could be me.
For just 1 hour.
If you could find a way.
To get inside.
Each other's mind.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
We've all felt left out. And for some, that feeling lasts more than a moment. We can change that. Learn how at belongingbeginswithus.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
Number 1, South Dakota State taking on number 2, North Dakota State here in the Summit League Women's Basketball Championships. Title Tuesday here in Sioux Falls, North Dakota State. We know them well, but let's just kind of get a thumbnail capture on them. Up in Fargo, North Dakota, 1890 was when they were founded, 12,242 enrollment. Their president is David Cook and athletics director Matt Larson. We pause now as we take in the national anthem performed by the SDSU Pep Band. Yes, SDSU Pep Band with that rendition of the United States national anthem. Great supporters of Jackrabbit basketball all year long and especially all tournament long. As I mentioned, North Dakota State number 2 in the Summit League tournament, but how did they get here? Well, the Bison overall 21-10, 13-3 in the conference. Their only loss that wasn't to South Dakota State was an 84-75 loss against Oral Roberts on January 20th. NDSU, the best season they've probably had, and I think I'm safe in saying this, in their Division I era in women's basketball, and here they are at the Summit League championship game. How they got here in the tournament, however, they bested Oral Roberts, who I just mentioned to was their only other conference loss except for against SDSU. They bested them 75-66 in the Summit League semifinals yesterday. That was the first game of the day. South Dakota State came after that. Leading point scorers for North Dakota State, Abby Draper, Heaven Hamling, both with 18 points apiece. Draper, 6 of 9 shooting, finished with 5 rebounds, 1 assist, and 2 turnovers. Hamling, she had 18, 6 of 14 shooting, 11 rebounds, so a double-double for her, 3 assists, and 1 steal. Also, totaling over 10 points, Avery Conan, 10 points for her, 4 of 6 shooting. She also had a double-double with 10 rebounds, 1 turnover, and 1 steal. So as I mentioned, NDSU defeating the Golden Eagles 75-66 in the semifinal yesterday. South Dakota State, as I mentioned, 26-5, 16-0 in the Summit League. Back-to-back undefeated seasons, which is something this conference has never seen. Back-to-back undefeated conference seasons, I should say. They got here by way of a win over their in-state rivals, South Dakota, the Coyotes. The Jackrabbits won that one 76-63 yesterday in the second women's semifinal game that took place after North Dakota State and Oral Roberts. The leading scorers for South Dakota State, they had a trio of players that made it into double figures. 21 points for Brooklyn Myers. She finished 8 of 11 shooting, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, and 2 turnovers, as well as 1 steal. behind her. Paige Meyer only 1 point behind, 20 points for her, 5 of 12 shooting and 10 of 12 on free throws, 3 rebounds, 7 assists, 3 turnovers, and 6 steals for Meyer. And the other one that scored double digits, Madison Mathewitz, 10 points for her, 4 of 10 shooting. She finished with 5 rebounds, 5 assists, 1 turnover in the game. So South Dakota State defeating in-state rival USD to advance on here to the Summit League title game. And we'll have that for you just about 4 minutes till we get things going, all the festivities and everything here. We'll take a quick break here. We'll come back with our starting lineups, and then we'll have you set for action here from the Denny Sanford Premier Center. Once again, we break. You're listening to Jackrabbit Women's Basketball on KSDJ 90.7.
Don't you wish your life came with a warning app?
Stop. That dog does not want to be petted.
Just a little heads up before something bad happens.
Move your coffee cup away from your computer.
Oh, no.
So you can have more control.
Stop. You're texting your boss by mistake.
Uh-oh. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but pre-diabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes like managing your weight, getting active, stopping smoking, and eating healthier, you can stop pre-diabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. It's easy to learn your risk. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org.
Warning, the cap is loose on that ketchup.
Ugh. Don't wait. You have the power to change the outcome. Visit doihaveprediabetes.org today. That's doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its pre-diabetes awareness partners.
Here's a fun fact for you. The average chameleon can point their eyes in 2 different directions. On the other hand, the average human can't. So unless you're a chameleon, there's absolutely no way you can focus on texting and driving at the same time. So don't do it. Unless you're a chameleon.
Visit StopTextsStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
When you're high, you feel different. You think different, you talk different, you draw different, you listen to music different, but you probably knew that. Problem is, you also drive different, and not in a good way. That's why driving high is illegal everywhere. So if you're high, just don't drive. Make a plan to get a sober ride. Because if you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Back in Sioux Falls, about a minute and a half till we get the in-arena festivities going. Right here, it's time to take a look at the starting lineups for both of these teams. Number 1 seeded South Dakota State, number 2 seeded North Dakota State. The intrastate rivals is how you would refer to them with that. South Dakota State, the home team on the scoreboard. We'll go ahead and start with their starting lineup. For the Jackrabbits, we're going to have a 5'10 sophomore guard. She's from Sleepy Eye, Minnesota, wearing number 3, Madison Mathewitz. She is averaging 11.7 points per game for the Jackrabbits. Next, we have a 5'6 junior guard from Albany, Minnesota. She's averaging 15.2 points per game. She's played in 28 of the games this year, wearing number 21, Paige Meyer. 6'2 junior forward from Melrose, Wisconsin. She's wearing number 24, averaging 7.6 points per game. Mesa Byam. Also have a 6'1 senior forward from Mendota Heights, Minnesota, wearing number 20, Tori Nelson, averaging 7.9 points per game. And then we have 6'2 sophomore forward from Larchwood, Iowa, number 31, Brooklyn Meyer, and she has the team lead in points per game, averaging 17 points per game. The Jackrabbits coached by Aaron Johnston, the longtime head man at South Dakota State, hoping to lead them back to another NCAA title berth. So again, the Jackrabbits will run Mathewitz, Nelson, Meyer in the guard, Mathewitz and Meyer in the guard positions. Nelson, Byam, and Brooklyn Meyer in the forward positions. For North Dakota State, a 6'2 junior forward from Waverly, Iowa. She's wearing number 2 and averaging 10.1 points per game, Abby Draper. A 5'8 senior guard from Grand Rapids, Minnesota, wearing number 11, averaging 15.2 points per game, the exceptional Heaven Hamling. 6'3 sophomore guard from Edwardsville, Illinois. She's averaging 15.4 points per game, number 21, Elle Evans. A 5'10 senior guard from Maple Grove, Minnesota. She wears number 24, Abby Schulte. And a 5'11 freshman guard from Wayzata, Minnesota. She wears number 40, Abby Krzyzewski. The Bison are head coached by Jory Collins. He's assisted by Dylan Geiser, Jamie Adams, Michaela Everett, and Emily Dietz. So once again, the Bison will run out Draper in the forward position, and then they also have Hamling, Evans, Schulte, and Krzyzewski in the guard positions. We'll go ahead and step aside one last time. When we come back, we'll have game action for you. South Dakota State taking on North Dakota State in the Summit League title game here on Title Tuesday. You're listening to Jackrabbit Women's Basketball on KSDJ 90.7.
Stop singing back. I'm just posting a story. I'm just changing the song.
No. When it comes to distracted driving, just don't. Sending a text takes your eyes off the road for just 5 seconds, but in that time, your car can travel the length of an entire football field. Any distracted driving just isn't worth it.
Visit StopTextsStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. And now a speech.
I just want to say that friendship is about heart and brain. Who's with me?
Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
And my brain is saying, when it's time to go home, somebody call me a ride.
Love that guy.
Me too.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Hey, wouldn't it be great if life came with a remote control? You know, you could hit pause when you needed to, or hit rewind, like that time you knocked down that wasp's nest.
Uh-oh.
Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. To learn your risk, take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
I'm Smokey Bear, and I made an assistant to help you out, because only you can prevent wildfires.
Hey, Assistant Smokey Bear, call me Papa Bear, because I'm grilling up dinner. Do you get it?
Yes, good job.
So, what should I do with all these coals?
Don't just toss them out. Put them in a metal container because those embers can start a wildfire.
I understand. The stakes are high.
Ha, 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 ha.
Learn more at SmokeyBear.com.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Don't you wish your life came with a warning app?
Stop. That dog does not want to be petted.
A heads up before something bad happens.
You should not send that text.
Uh-oh. Life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes, you can reverse prediabetes and prevent or delay type 2 diabetes. To learn your risk, take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
It's packed in here, folks. Yellow and blue all over the place. Green and gold and small smatterings around the arena. It's going to be a fun one here. The Summit League Women's Basketball Championship game. And we're glad to have you along with us here on KSDJ 90.7. North Dakota State, the number 2 seed, visitors on the scoreboard here today. They're going to be wearing their gold uniforms with blue with, not blue, am I colorblind? Green, bison across the front, green numerals trimmed in white on the front and the back, green trim down the side and at the bottom of the shorts. For South Dakota State in their home icy whites with blue and yellow trimming down the side, blue Jacks in block lettering across the front, the name in block lettering across the bottom of the back, and blue numerals in the front and the back trimmed in yellow. The tip is up, and it's going to be controlled by North Dakota State. Elle Evans and Brooklyn Meyer up there to tap it, and we are underway in the Summit League Championship game. The ball finds its way up at the top to Draper, over to Hamling, standing on the left. Down low on the left baseline is going to be Draper. She's inside the lane. Dribbles it with the right hand, turnover, and she puts a hook shot up over the Jackrabbit defense to get things started here in the championship game. 2-0 NDSU, 9.5 minutes left to go here in the first quarter. Paige Meyer standing at the point. She dribbles it with the right hand, sends it over to Mesa Byam, and now down to Tori Nelson. Back to Byam on the right wing. Nelson down on the baseline. Bounces it inside Brooklyn Meyer, who bounces it across the lane. Byam can't quite come up with it. It's going to go out of bounds off of South Dakota State and give the ball right back to North Dakota State. Dribbling it up is going to be Schulte, Abby Schulte, the Maple Grove, Minnesota product. Hamling standing at the top, back to Schulte on the right. Now she'll give it over to Elle Evans on the right side, inside the lane. Now she's driving, tried to put up a shot with the right hand. It hits the glass and it falls down to Paige Meyer. Now a feed ahead pass to Mathewitz inside the arc. She gets stopped, spinning around, gives it to Byam on the left and Meyer on the right now. 8:50 left to go on the clock. Still 2-0 North Dakota State here in the Summit League title game. South Dakota State versus North Dakota State. A pass from Paige Meyer gets intercepted by Abby Schulte, driving inside the lane. She tries to draw the foul, but gets a travel called on her instead. So that'll give the ball right back to the Jackrabbits. The Jackrabbits moving from left to right as we see it here, just behind the media table. Still part of media row, but just behind the table with all the advertisements on it and such like that. So we aren't quite courtside, but we're a little bit behind there. Paige Meyer on the right side, gets it down low on the right baseline to Brooklyn Meyer. Back to Paige, and it goes from right to left all the way around the arc. Mathewitz on the left side, and a foul's going to be called down low, deep on Abby Kraswinski, the 5'11 freshman guard from Wayzata. It's going to be the first foul of the game, so obviously the first on Kraswinski. 8:20 left to go. Paige Meyer gets it in. Mathewitz on the left wing. She gets it up top to Byam at the point. Now over to Mathewitz back on the wing, inside the elbow to Brooklyn Meyer. She puts up a shot that's too hard off the glass, but comes up with her own rebound. She kicks it out to Paige Meyer, standing on the right elbow, and a travel going to be called on Paige. It gives it right back to North Dakota State. 3 turnovers already in this game for South Dakota State, compared to only 1 for North Dakota State. 4 in total, and we're just now 2 minutes into this one. 8 minutes left on the clock in the first quarter. Standing on the left wing now is going to be Elle Evans on the other side. She's inside at the Summit League logo, inside the lane, puts up a fader, and that one's good. 4-0 North Dakota State over South Dakota State. Number 2 versus number 1 in the final game of Summit League women's basketball this season. Brooklyn bounces it to Paige on the right side, gives it over to Mathewitz on the left. Gets it inside the elbow to Brooklyn Meyer, back out to Nelson, inside to Brooklyn Meyer, who finishes with the left hand on the rim. And that cracks the scoreboard for the Jackrabbits. 4-2 now. North Dakota State leads it. Elle Evans on the right side. She comes around a screen set. She puts up a shot in the lane. It bounces around and eventually brought down is the board by Mathewitz. Back the other way, Paige Meyer now spinning down the left side of the lane. She lays it in with the left-handed roll. 4-4, and just like that, we're tied up here. 7 minutes left to go in the first quarter. 4-4, South Dakota State and North Dakota State. Evans on the left side gets back up to the point. She hands it off to Hamling on the right side now. Standing, and another screen set by Kraswinski. Hamling has it. She gets it outside the arc to Evans. Still on the right side. It's going to bounce into Kraswinski. Puts off the glass and down for 2 more. 6-4. That's going to be Kraswinski's first basket of the game, but the Bison are up by 2. 6-4 here with 6.5 minutes left to go in the first quarter. Paige Meyer over on the right side to Byam, down low to Mathewitz. Inside now, Brooklyn Meyer standing on the baseline, out to Mathewitz, and she tried to get it back inside to Brooklyn Meyer. It goes out of bounds, and another turnover for South Dakota State, make it their 4th of the game so far. So now Avery Conan in the game for North Dakota State. She bounces it into Schulte, who slowly dribbles it up the center of the court. Working from right to left as we see it here in the Denny Sanford Premier Center. Schulte brings the ball. She puts up a shot, and she knocks it down to stretch the lead to 4 once again, 8-4. Last time it was a 4-point lead. It was 4-0. South Dakota State trailing by 2 possessions here. Nelson standing on the right side. Gets it up top to Brooklyn Meyer. Over on the left to Mathewitz. She drives inside, puts it off the glass, and it rattles down through the hoop. 8-6 now. They cut the deficit in half. 5:40 left to go in the first quarter here in Sioux Falls. Hamlin at the top. Stopping. And she tried to put it up, and it gets blocked by Brooklyn Meyer. It finds its way out to beyond the arc, and Hamlin puts up a 3. That one falls down, and Brooklyn Meyer gets the rebound now. Meyer 2 points so far. That's a block and a rebound as well. Nelson on the other side. She loses the basketball. Mad scramble for it, and NDSU picks it up. Coming back the other way is Schulte. She has it across the timeline. 5:10 left to go in the first quarter. Now Evans. Elle Evans standing on the left side. Nelson defending her. She cuts inside the perimeter. Spinning around in the right elbow. She gets it outside to Hamling. A screen set by her. Standing inside the lane. 9 on the shot clock. 8 on the shot clock. She's stuck. She bounces it to Schulte. The ball goes right up in the air. There's no whistle until it goes out of bounds. And there's a timeout on the floor. 8-6, North Dakota State leading it here over South Dakota State in the Summit League title game. 4:49 left to go in the first quarter, and we step aside. You're listening to South Dakota State women's basketball on KSDJ 90.7.
They are our cuddlers and coworkers, purr machines and love bugs, and constant companions. They are our pets, our family, and they make life so much better. When we face unexpected challenges in life, so do our pets. That's why we're on a mission to support people who love their pets and the pets who love their people, ensuring these families stay exactly where they belong, together. And you have something to offer. With an open heart and mind, there is nothing you can't do. There's no gesture too small or too big when it comes to helping. Whether donating a bag of kibble, sharing an Instagram post of a lost cat, or welcoming a foster pet into your home, every bit of kindness counts. You can help keep pets and people together. Visit petsandpeopletogether.org to learn how to be a helper in your community. This has been a public service announcement brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
Walking into the building for the first time after the shooting, it was crippling, but it had to be preserved.
In response to the Pulse nightclub shooting that affected the LGBTQ community, Barbara Poma, owner of Pulse, founded the One Pulse Foundation to honor Pulse victims and survivors.
If you're an ally of this community, speak out. There are more of us together than apart. It is the power of love in its rawest form.
Join the fight for LGBTQ acceptance. Learn how at lovehasnolabels.com. Brought to you by Love Has No Labels and the Ad Council.
Hey, wouldn't it be great if life came with a remote control? You know, you could hit pause when you needed to, or hit rewind. Like that time you knocked down that wasp's nest.
Uh-oh.
Or that time you forgot to roll up your windows in the car wash.
Fantastic.
Yeah, a remote control would have come in handy then. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome. But prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes like managing your weight, getting active, stopping smoking, and eating healthier, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. It's easy to learn your risk. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Life doesn't come with a remote control. Yikes! So you're on your own with the wasps. You have the power to take control of prediabetes. Visit doihaveprediabetes.org today. That's doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
If I could be...
If I could be... If I could be... If I could be... If I could be... If I could be... If I could be... If I could be... If I could be... If I could be... If I could be... If I could be... If I could be... If I could be... If I could be... If I could be... If I could be... If I could be... If I could be... If I could be... If I could be... If I could be... If I could be... If I could be... If I could be... If I could be... If I could be... If I could be... If I could be... If I could be... If I could be... If I could be... If I could be... If I could be... If I could be... If I could be... If I could be... If I could be... If I could be... If I could be... If I could be... If I could be... If I could be... If I could be... If I could be... If I could be... If I could be... If I could be... If I could be... If I could be... If I could be... If I could be... If I could be 8-6, number 2 North Dakota State leads number 1 South Dakota State here in the Summit League women's basketball title game. 4:49 left to go in the first quarter. Live from the Denny Sanford Premier Center. 2 rebounds for Brooklyn Myers so far. She has only 2 points, 1 of 2 shooting. Paige Meyer brings it up the court across the timeline. She gives it to Jenna Hopp and Ellie Kolbeck, who are in the game for the first time for South Dakota State. Inside the arc to Nelson. Gives it over on the right side to Hopp. She tries to drive baseline. She loses the basketball in a kickball violation. Going to be called on SDSU. So far, North Dakota State has pushed the lead to 4 points twice. One at 4-0 and one at 8-4. South Dakota State is back within 2 here, 8-6. Paige Meyer rifles it on the right baseline to Nelson, who pulls up for 3. That hits the rim, and it falls down by Riley Simon in the game for North Dakota State. She gives it over to her right to Schulte, who tries to drive inside the lane, decides to kick it out to Evans. She bounces it now to Conan. Avery Conan spinning inside the lane, looking for somewhere to get it. Gets it back up top to Evans. Evans trying a 3-ball on the right side. That rims out. It almost goes out of bounds. It's saved by Conan, but it goes right into the arms of South Dakota State, Kolbeck tried to bounce it inside to Brooklyn Meyer. It'll go out of bounds, and yet another turnover for South Dakota State. That's going to be 6 now on the game compared to North Dakota State's 2. Definitely something they'll have to limit here. North Dakota State looking to score a bucket. They haven't done so in just over 2 minutes of game time. 8-6 is still the score. The right side driving through the baseline is going to be Evans. She turns around and a reverse lay-in is going to be good. 10-6, and there's that 4-point deficit again that South Dakota State is facing. They can't seem to get closer. Hopp standing at the point, gives it over on the right side to Paige Meyer. Bounces it down to Brooklyn, working on the right low block. Spins around inside the lane, and it hits the front of the rim. They cannot catch a break here on the offensive end. 10-6. 3:15 left to go in the first quarter. Heaven Hamling on the right for 3. That rims out. The board goes high for Conan, and she tried a shot. And that one's going to fall down, no good. And Paige Meyer coming back now the other way. 3 minutes left to play in the first frame here in the Denny Sanford Premier Center, Sioux Falls, South Dakota, the side of the Summit League tournament. Down low is Brooklyn Meyer. She puts it up and in. 10-8, and now they're back within 2 once again. Less than 3 minutes left to play in the first quarter. Schulte gives it forward to Hamling on the right side. She dribbles with the left hand, now moves it to her right. Standing at the point, she gives it over to the left side to Evans. She goes inside the arc, pulls up for a long 2. And that one falls down, no good. The rebound from Kolbeck, and she outlets it now to Paige Meyer. Paige gives it over to Kolbeck, now on the left side, Hopp. Back up to Meyer. And over to Hopp on the left side. Down low to Brooklyn Meyer. Across the lane. Tori Nelson cutting back door. She puts it in on the right baseline, and that one will tie it back up. 10-10 with just over 2 minutes remaining in the first quarter at the Summit League Women's Basketball Championship game. Now Evans inside the arc. She puts it up. That hits the front of the rim. A mad scramble for the ball. It ping-pongs around, and out of the pile of humanity comes Paige Meyer with the basketball. Standing on the right wing, she gives it to Nelson, and Hopp over on the left. Back to Paige Meyer, standing at the top. Kolbeck, and now down low to Nelson. Still on the right perimeter. Back to Meyer, back to Nelson, who bounces it inside to Brooklyn Meyer. She can't get it, and another turnover for South Dakota State. 7 in all, and now driving to the lane is going to be Schulte, and a whistle is going to be called. It's going to go out of bounds off of North Dakota State, and South Dakota State's going to get the ball back here. Still tied 10-10, 1:27 left to go here in the first quarter of the Summit League title game. Again, the winner moves on to the NCAA tournament. South Dakota State, this would be their second year in a row. Meyer dribbles it up into the front court. Standing at the top, Hopp on the left side. Ball high above her head. She takes a step towards her right and then dumps it off over to the left to Paige Meyer. She's driving now in the lane. She puts it up and falls down, and a foul's going to be called on North Dakota State. specifically Abby Schulte. It's going to be her first and only the second foul of the game, and both of them being on NDSU. So Paige Meyer is going to go to the line for South Dakota State, the first free throws of the game as well. And she misses that one. 10-10. $1:08 left to go here in the first quarter. This one for the lead. She knocks it down. 11-10. The Jackrabbits have the lead, I believe, the first time in this game. Not time to take a sigh of relief, however. Abby Graham back on the attack for North Dakota State. Gets it to Schulte, who bounces it down low to Kraswinski. And a foul going to be called on Ellie Kolbeck. The Fergus Falls, Minnesota native, the sophomore, standing at 5'10". And now Abby Graham, a Portland, Oregon native, set to inbound it for the Bison. Graham gets it up top to Hamling, standing at the point. Under a minute left to go in the first quarter. A three ball coming from Myriley Simon, and she drops it down. No good. 11-10. Spinning around is Paige Meyer. She kicks it out. Hop on the left for three. That hits the back iron. Running for the basketball is Mesa Byam. She comes up with it on the near sideline. Looks to get it somewhere. She finally gets it to Kolbeck and Paige Meyer. 13 on the shot clock. About 12 seconds between the two clocks. Paige Meyer drives inside, and they're going to say she traveled. That'll give it back over to South Dakota State. 8th turnover of the game for SDSU. North Dakota State a chance to get another bucket before the quarter ends here. They haven't been able to do so in just over 3 minutes of time, and they've only hit one of their last 10 shots that they've taken from the floor. In fact, period, because they haven't even taken a free throw shot either. Schulte on the right, gives it up top to Evans. She tries to bounce it down low to Kraswinski, and that gets blocked at the board by Mesa Byam. Coming back the other way, Meyer, and with 1 second left on the clock, Kolbeck tried to shoot it, and that's going to be no good. But South Dakota State will head into the second quarter with a 1-point lead. 11-10, the Jackrabbits are up over the Bison in the Summit League women's basketball title game. We step aside here on KSDJ. You're listening to Jackrabbit women's basketball.
You.
And you could be me
for just 1 hour. If you could find a way
to get inside each other's mind.
Walk a mile in my shoes. Walk a mile in my shoes.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
We've all felt left out. And for some, that feeling lasts more than a moment. We can change that. Learn how at belongingbeginswithus.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
Don't you wish your life came with a warning app?
Stop. That dog does not want to be petted.
Just a little heads up before something bad happens.
Move your coffee cup away from your computer.
Oh, no.
So you can have more control.
Stop. You're texting your boss by mistake.
Uh-oh. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes like managing your weight, getting active, stopping smoking, and eating healthier, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. It's easy to learn your risk. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org.
Warning, the cap is loose on that ketchup.
Ugh. Don't wait. You have the power to change the outcome. Visit doihaveprediabetes.org today. That's doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
Here's a fun fact for you. The average chameleon can point their eyes in 2 different directions. On the other hand, the average human can't. So unless you're a chameleon, there's absolutely no way you can focus on texting and driving at the same time. So don't do it. Unless you're a chameleon.
Visit StopTextsStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
(11-10), South Dakota State leads it over North Dakota State here, number 1 versus number 2 in the Summit League women's basketball title game. The right to go to the NCAA women's tournament is on the line. The Jackrabbits 8 turnovers in the game so far, and at least 5 of them, if not more, have been because they're forcing passes down low to Brooklyn Meyer, trying to get her the basketball inside the paint. They're about 6 turnovers away from their season average, so something to keep an eye on as we keep going down the way. So far, 4 points for Brooklyn, and I mean they're trying to get it to her for good reason, but they're forcing the passes inside, and North Dakota State's coming up with the basketball because of it. 2 rebounds for her as well, but she herself has 2 turnovers. Paige Meyer has 3, Tori Nelson also has 2, and that makes up 7 out of the 8. Madison Mathewitz has the other one. Paige Meyer has 3 on the other side. Elle Evans, 4 points for her. Schulte, Kraswinski, and Draper have the other points for North Dakota State. Still 11-10 under as we start the second quarter. Mathewitz has it at the top, looks to get it to Byam. They try to get it down low to Nelson, and that gets tapped out of bounds by Kraswinski. As Brooklyn Meyer will come back into the game immediately. Paige Meyer coming out for SDSU. So Colbeck set to inbound it underneath the basket, 16 on the shot clock, trying to get it somewhere. The defense was tight. They gave it up to Mathewitz on the left side. Now down low on the right baseline is Nelson. She drives in, spinning around on the elbow, and that one hits the backboard and falls down without even touching the rim. Still 11-10, SDSU over NDSU. Hamling on the left side now. She'll hand it off over to Evans on the left for 3. She knocks it down, and that gives the Bison the lead back, 13-11. A slow dribble up the court now from Colbeck. A 2-point lead for North Dakota State. The Bison on top here over the Jackrabbits. Colbeck, a high pass corralled by Nelson, gets it back to Colbeck, standing near the midcourt logo of the Summit League Championships here at the Premier Center. Mathewitz on the right side up top to Colbeck. She pulls up for 3. That rims out. The rebound falls down to Byam. She's fighting for it, and out comes North Dakota State with the basketball. Coming back the other way is Hamling. She drives with the left-handed dribble, puts it off glass, and down the hoop for 2 more. 15-14, and there's a 4-point lead again for North Dakota State. 8.5 minutes left to go here in the second quarter. South Dakota State trailing by 4. Again, the Summit League title game here in Sioux Falls. Nelson gets that one tapped away. Hamling almost got it, but Colbeck grabbed it up. Gives it back to Nelson on the left side. Cross-court pass to Mathewitz, standing on the right wing. Over to Nelson. She tried to bounce it into Brooklyn. It goes off the shin of Hamling, and it'll go out of bounds right in front of the North Dakota State bench. Paige Meyer coming back in for South Dakota State. She'll come in for Colbeck, as Nelson will be set to inbound it right in front of the North Dakota State Sports Information Director. Paige Meyer standing at the top. Gives it to Byam at the point. Now Mathewitz on the right side. Down low into Brooklyn Meyer. Inside the elbow, now in the lane. Spin around, left-handed hook shot, not able to go. And down with the rebound comes Abby Draper. She outlets it now to Hamling. And a 15-11 lead for North Dakota State. They're looking to advance it here at the free throw line, driving on the right lane. She puts it up, and that just goes out the perimeter of the rim and falls down, no good. 15-11 still, North Dakota State with the lead. Paige Meyer loses the basketball. It gets poked out by Hamling, and they'll say it goes off of Meyer. And another turnover on the Jackrabbits, make it 9 on the day. Conan going to inbound it into the backcourt for North Dakota State. Again, a 15-11 lead for them with 7:35 on the clock in the second quarter. Handoff given to Evans, who bounces it to Hamling a couple of feet behind the perimeter. Now she'll give it to Evans, who tries for a 3 on the left side. That back irons off and falls down to Paige Meyer. Now coming back the other way are Meyer and the Jackrabbits. She gives it over to Nelson, who curls her way to the top, down low now to Brooklyn Myers, spinning right side off the glass, and it hits the rim again. They can't buy a shot here in this title game. Now down low, Evans putting it up, and going high for the rebound is Mesa Byam. Still 15-11, under 7 minutes left to play now. Mathewitz, right side three, rims off, and high for the rebound. Going is Evans. Meyer almost came up with it. It squirts out, and now coming back the other way is Schulte. She gives it to Conan, and trailing behind is Hamlin. Schulte driving in on the left side. Tried to put up a shot. It'll go out, and they'll call it out on South Dakota State there. Ten turnovers to 2. 6:35 left to go in the second period. That's all we're at. As Schulte set to inbound it underneath the basket. Gets it up top to Conan. She hands off behind her to Evans. Standing at the point, a screen set by Conan, and now Evans has it on the left side. Working inside the perimeter, kicks it out, and now on the left, a three from Simon. That gets tapped around, and Hop comes down with the rebound. She gives it over to Paige Meyer, who dribbles it up the near sideline. Standing on the right, reverses it, now gives it over to Mathewitz on the left. She drives through off the glass, and it hits the back iron, almost falls down, and a rough pull away from Riley Simon, the West Fargo native, and she brings down Hop, and the foul going to be on Simon. Her first, the team's first in the second half, and I believe only the third foul in the game. No, the fourth, but still a rather small number. 6:08 on the clock, 15-11 still the score. We haven't had a point scored in about 2.5 minutes. Mathewitz standing at the top. She tried to bounce it down to Brooklyn Meyer, and again forcing the pass. Gave it back over to North Dakota State. Leah McKenzie has it at the point, dribbling with the left hand, driving inside the elbow, trying to spin around, and a foul called on North Dakota State. Going to be Avery Conan who gets the call on that one, second of the second quarter for North Dakota State. That's only going to be her first. A foul on Schulte, a foul on Simon, a foul on Krzyzewski, and a foul on Conan now. Meyer gives it up top to Brooklyn. Meyer, hand off to Paige on the right for three. She knocks it down. It finds its way through the nylon, and that gets them back within one. 14-15, the Jackrabbits trail. 5.5 left in the first quarter. Across the timeline, gets it over to Hamling on the right side. A screen going to be set by Draper. Coming around the other side of it is Hamling. She gets it out now to McKenzie. Driving inside the lane, loses the basketball out of bounds.
Substitution. Put by number 10, Abby Graham, and number 24, Abby Schulte.
So a couple of substitutions coming in for NDSU. As Graham inbounds it up top to Evans. Hop gave her a good contest there. Evans lowered her shoulder. Hop draws the foul there. The Jackrabbit fans applauding the effort. And a foul is going to be on Evans. Also gets the turnover there, so Nelson's going to bounce it into Meyer as they dribble it up the court. 5:10 left to go in the second quarter, 15-14. North Dakota State still with the lead. They haven't scored in almost 3.5 minutes. Meyer on the right side gives it to Hop, going around the perimeter and finds its way to Colbeck on the left. Back to Nelson at the point. She dribble handoff to Meyer. Paige Meyer, that is. Shot clock down to 8. She tries to dribble around Byam. Now gives it over to Nelson on the right. 4-3 on the shot clock. Inside the lane, fadeaway is not going to hit the rim. And a shot clock violation going to be called. Will be North Dakota State basketball. The timeout on the floor, 15-14. North Dakota State leads it. 4:41 left in the second quarter. We step aside. You're listening to Jackrabbit Women's Basketball on KSDJ.
When you're high, you feel different. You think different, you talk different, you draw different, you listen to music different, but you probably knew that. Problem is, you also drive different, and not in a good way. That's why driving high is illegal everywhere. So if you're high, just don't drive. Make a plan to get a sober ride. Because if you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Texting him back. I'm just posting a story. I'm just changing the song.
No. When it comes to distracted driving, just don't. Sending a text takes your eyes off the road for just 5 seconds, but in that time, your car can travel the length of an entire football field. Any distracted driving just isn't worth it.
Visit StopTextsStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. And now a speech.
I just want to say that friendship is about heart and brain. Who's with me?
Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
And my brain is saying, when it's time to go home, somebody call me a ride.
Love that guy.
Me too.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Hey, wouldn't it be great if life came with a remote control? You know, you could hit pause when you needed to, or hit rewind, like that time you knocked down that wasp's nest.
Uh-oh.
Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. To learn your risk, take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partner.
to 14, North Dakota State leads it over South Dakota State here. 4:41 left to go in the second quarter of the Summit League Women's Basketball title game. South Dakota State currently with 12 turnovers so far in this game. Shooting 6 of 17 overall. North Dakota State shooting 7 of 25. Both teams aren't hitting their shots, but North Dakota State's getting them up. That's the difference. South Dakota State's not getting very many shot opportunities, and they're just not getting it up. I would have to think that if they just got some shots up, they would maybe be able to hit some of them and hit more. But the fact that they're pretty much even in shots made shows a little bit of where this game could be if they could stop turning the ball over and actually get the shots in there. As I mentioned, still a 1-point lead for North Dakota State, 15 to 14. 4.5 minutes left to go in the second quarter. Driving inside is Schulte. She's on the elbow. She puts up a shot. It goes over the basket, and the rebound falls down to Byam. Byam will give it behind her to Meyer. We'll give it to Nelson on the left. Now Hop. She has it, tries to dribble it up to Paige Meyer. Inside the arc now, back to Hop on the left. She tries to drive through the wing, spinning around, puts up a prayer, and that falls down and it goes out of bounds. It'll be off North Dakota State, so South Dakota State will keep it, but they have 10 seconds on the shot clock with 4:05 remaining in the second quarter. Paige Meyer gets it inside the arc now to Byam. She turns around and hands it back off to Paige. 5 seconds on the clock. She puts up a shot and it back irons out. Now on the other end, Evans loses the basketball. It's picked up by Hop. She turns around and gives it over to Paige Meyer. A much-needed break for South Dakota State there. The chance to take the lead again here on the offensive end for South Dakota State. And now a foul is going to be called. And an offensive foul on Mesa Byam, her first. And the Jackrabbits only the second of the game. And the first of the second half. The second quarter. Thank you, Jordan. You're keeping me in check here, man. Draper gives it on the left to Hamling. Down low on the left baseline to Draper. She drives through the lane, puts up a shot, and Byam goes high for the rebound once again. Byam now has 5 rebounds. Paige Meyer also has 5 rebounds. So the Jackrabbits are working the boards really well here in this game. The turnovers and the shots are what are troubling them. 15-14. 3 minutes left to go in the second quarter. Byam puts up a shot. It goes over the basket and falls into the arms of Hamling. Under 3 minutes left to play now in the first half. Dribbling with the left hand. She hands it off now to Evans. Evans will hand it off now. And Hamling has it on the left side. In the lane, she loses it. Colbeck coming back the other way. Gets it across half court. She slows things up. Cross-court pass to Paige Meyer. And she get it down low to Brooklyn. It looked like the Bison player down low was holding on a little bit. And a foul's going to be on Abby Draper. So Draper gets called for her first foul there. And South Dakota State's going to inbound it here in their offensive zone. On the right side, Mathewitz pulls up for 3. She hits it down. That gives them the lead. 17-15 with 2.5 remaining in the first half. And that gets the crowd a little bit excited here at the Denny Sanford Premier Center. A little bit of offense is just what the crowd needed. Hamling driving through the lane, turns around, kicks it out on the left to Evans. Pulls up for 3. That hits the rim. It bounces on top of the backboard and goes out of bounds. South Dakota State will have the basketball there with a 2-point lead, 17-15. Now Meyer slowly dribbles it up, standing at the top. A right-handed dribble as we tick down closer to 2 minutes left to play. Up at the point to Mathewitz, inside the arc to Nelson. Rifles it to the right to Colbeck, and Mathewitz at the top for 3 again. A 5-point lead for South Dakota State. I believe that's their big lead of the night. Buck 44 left to go in the second quarter. Bounces it now to Simon. Gets it up top to Evans. As inside the lane, spinning around is Conan. Loses it out of bounds. And it'll stay North Dakota State basketball. They'll have 11 seconds on the shot clock. And 1 minute and 31 seconds left to go in the second quarter. Hamlin inbounds it up top. Now to Evans. Evans gives it over to Hamlin on the left side. Down low, they get it inside to Evans, and a shot clock violation going to be called. They got stuck right on the baseline. And the Jackrabbits will get the ball back. A 9-0 run over the past 4 minutes and some change. 20-15, the Jacks have the lead here. A buck 12 left to go in the first half. Mathewitz standing at the top. She has the last 6 points for the Jackrabbits. 2 massive three-pointers for her. She has it on the right wing now. Gives it up top to Colbeck, who pulls up for 3 herself. That back irons off. Going high for the rebound is going to be Conan. It falls out of her hands and then finally brought down by Schulte. Schulte giving it over on the left to Evans. Under a minute left to go now. She'll pull up for a long 2. That'll bounce out and fall back down to Schulte, who will turn around and put it back up and in for 2. 20-17 the score. South Dakota State over North Dakota State. Colbeck will give it over to Paige Meyer on the left. Cutting inside, bounces it to Brooklyn Meyer. Behind the back, left-handed lay-in for 2 more. The shot clock's off, and the clock counting down 15 seconds left to go in the first half. The crowd rises to their feet here, overwhelmingly yellow and blue. There's some green and gold, as I mentioned in the pregame. 5 seconds on the clock. Hamlin has it at the point. Moving towards the right side. She puts up a shot, and she banks it in off the backboard. The Bison believe it went in. The Jackrabbits fans don't think it does, but the referees confer it does indeed go in. So at the half, we have 22-20, the 2-point lead for South Dakota State in the Summit League women's basketball title game. Don't go anywhere. We have an exciting second half coming, but first we have halftime. We'll take a look at the first half stats and take a quick look at tonight's matchup between South Dakota State and Denver for the Summit League men's basketball title game. But before that, we break. You're listening to Jackrabbit Women's Basketball on KSDJ.
I'm Smokey Bear, and I made an assistant to help you out, because only you can prevent wildfires.
Hey, Assistant Smokey Bear, call me Papa Bear, because I'm grilling up dinner. Do you get it?
Yes, good job.
So, what should I do with all these coals?
Don't just toss them out. Put them in a metal container because those embers can start a wildfire.
I understand. The stakes are high.
Ha, 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 ha.
Learn more at SmokeyBear.com.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Don't you wish your life came with a warning app?
Stop. That dog does not want to be petted.
A heads up before something bad happens.
You should not send that text.
Uh-oh. Life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes, you can reverse prediabetes and prevent or delay type 2 diabetes. To learn your risk, take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
They are our cuddlers and coworkers, purr machines and love bugs, and constant companions. They are our pets, our family, and they make life so much better. When we face unexpected challenges in life, so do our pets. That's why we're on a mission to support people who love their pets, and the pets who love their people, ensuring these families stay exactly where they belong, together. And you have something to offer. With an open heart and mind, there is nothing you can't do. There's no gesture too small or too big when it comes to helping. Whether donating a bag of kibble, sharing an Instagram post of a lost cat, or welcoming a foster pet into your home, every bit of kindness counts. You can help keep pets and people together. Visit petsandpeopletogether.org to learn how to be a helper in your community. This has been a public service announcement brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
Walking into the building for the first time after the shooting, it was crippling, but it had to be preserved.
In response to the Pulse nightclub shooting that affected the LGBTQ community, Barbara Poma, owner of Pulse, founded the One Pulse Foundation to honor Pulse victims and survivors.
If you're an ally of this community, speak out. There are more of us together than apart. It is the power of love in its rawest form.
Join the fight for LGBTQ acceptance. Learn how at lovehasnolabels.com. Brought to you by Love Has No Labels and the Ad Council.
Hey, wouldn't it be great if life came with a remote control? You know, you could hit pause when you needed to, or hit rewind. Like that time you knocked down that wasp's nest. Uh-oh. Or that time you forgot to roll up your windows in the car wash.
Fantastic.
Yeah, a remote control would have come in handy then. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes like managing your weight, getting active, stopping smoking, and eating healthier, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. It's easy to learn your risk. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Life doesn't come with a remote control. Yikes! So you're on your own with the wasps. You have the power to take control of prediabetes. Visit doihaveprediabetes.org today. That's doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
(22-20) at the half. North Dakota State trailing South Dakota State, number 1 versus number 2 in the Summit League. The right to go to the NCAA women's basketball tournament is on the line here between the Jackrabbits and the Bison. Welcome into the halftime show. Kind of a low-scoring affair here, 22-20, and we'll get into why in just a moment's time. Let's take a look at the first half numbers. North Dakota State, starting off with that, their leading scorer, 7 points for Elle Evans. 3 of 10 shooting for her, 1 of 3 from long range. No rebounds, 1 assist, 2 turnovers, and 1 steal. That's the leading scorer for North Dakota State. Other point getters for NDSU, 5 points for Heaven Hamling, 4 points for Abby Schulte, and 2 points for Abby Draper and Abby Kraswinski. Looking at the team, they shot only 28.1%, 9 of 32. That's right, they took 32 shots. They just could not hit them in the first half. 2 of 8 from long range for nice 25%. They did not take a free throw attempt in the first half as well. For South Dakota State, 8 points for Madison Mathewicz. She's shooting 3 of 5. 2 huge three-pointers to spur a 9-0 run that eventually gave the Jackrabbits their big lead of the night at 5. 8 points for her, 3 rebounds, 2 turnovers for Mathewicz. As a team, the Jackrabbits 13 turnovers. Right now they're on pace to get 26, which is only 2 behind their season high in the turnover category. Other point scorers for South Dakota State going to be Brooklyn Meyer and Paige Meyer, both sitting at 6 points, and Tori Nelson with 2. As a team shooting 9 of 24, they've made the same amount of shots as North Dakota State, but they haven't taken near as many. They've only taken 24 compared to North Dakota State's 32, so that's a big reason to do why we're pretty much dead even. I mean, almost about as dead even as you can be at halftime without actually being tied. 1 point difference between the two, 22-20. 3 of 8 from long range and 1 of 2 on the free throw lines. And in fact, that 1 point might prove to be huge down the stretch if we get into the fourth quarter in the waning minutes and we're still this even across the board. I mean, looking at these two stats, they look like pretty much the same. Crazy. South Dakota State's biggest lead of the night was at 5. North Dakota State's at 4. There were 3 lead changes and 2 ties in the first half, and North Dakota State had the overwhelming majority of time with the lead, 13 minutes and 51 seconds in total compared to South Dakota State's 4 minutes and 18 seconds. NDSU and SDSU 6 points each off of turnovers, 14 points for NDSU in the paint, 12 points for SDSU. At the end of the first quarter, it was 11-10, and they scored the same amount of points in the second quarter to make it a 22-20 game at halftime. We'll step aside. We'll get an update on Jackrabbit softball, who's down in Tallahassee taking on Florida State today. We also might take a look at what's going on at the Jackrabbit Invitational down at Boulder City in Nevada. And we'll preview just a little bit, preview the Summit League men's basketball championship tonight between South Dakota State and Denver. At halftime, 22-20, we step aside. You're listening to Jackrabbit women's basketball on KSDJ 90.7.
If I could be you.
And you could be me.
For just 1 hour.
If you could find a way.
To get inside each other's mind.
Walk a mile in my shoes. Walk a mile in my shoes.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
We've all felt left out. And for some, that feeling lasts more than a moment. We can change that. Learn how at belongingbeginswithus.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
Don't you wish your life came with a warning app?
Stop. That dog does not want to be petted.
Just a little heads up before something bad happens.
Move your coffee cup away from your computer.
Oh, no.
So you can have more control.
Stop. You're texting your boss by mistake.
Uh-oh. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes like managing your weight, getting active, stopping smoking, and eating healthier, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. It's easy to learn your risk. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org.
Warning, the cap is loose on that ketchup.
Ugh.
Don't wait. You have the power to change the outcome. Visit doihaveprediabetes.org today. That's doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its pre-diabetes awareness partners.
Here's a fun fact for you. The average chameleon can point their eyes in 2 different directions. On the other hand, the average human can't. So unless you're a chameleon, there's absolutely no way you can focus on texting and driving at the same time. So don't do it, unless you're a chameleon.
Visit StopTextsStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Back in Sioux Falls, 22-20, the score at halftime between number 1 South Dakota State and number 2 North Dakota State. The 2 intra-state rivals taking on each other for the right to go to the NCAA Women's Basketball Tournament. Glad to have you along with us here on KSDJ 90.7. Taking a look at what's going on around South Dakota State athletics down at the Jackrabbit Invitational, as I mentioned, in Boulder City, Nevada, because usually you can't have a golf tournament up here during this time, but look what it is outside. I mean, it's beautiful. Currently through 3 rounds, and I wouldn't be surprised if that's all that they're playing. Grand Canyon, 17 under par, a total of 847. Little Rock, 2 above par in second place at 866, and South Dakota State sitting at third, 3 above par, and is sitting at 867 overall. The leading Jackrabbit, Piper Stubbs, 4 under par for her, sitting at 212. She's tied in 4th place with Ryan Flynn from Grand Canyon. Taking a look at the softball team, they're down in Tallahassee today, taking on Florida State in a doubleheader. Number 16, Florida State, I might add. The Jackrabbits had a 5-3 lead at one point. They gave up a grand slam, and then it all went downhill from there. 11-5, the final score in that one. Alexa Williams gets the loss and falls to 0-3 on the season. McKenna Reed for Florida State, 5-0 on the year so far after she gets the win here today. Now in Game 2 of the doubleheader between Florida State and South Dakota State in the top of the 6th. Florida leads it 4-0 currently down in Tallahassee, so we'll update you with that. It might be over. It probably will be over by the time the second half is done, so stay tuned for the post game and we'll let you know what happened there, see if the Jackrabbits get swept down in Tallahassee. And as I mentioned earlier, number 7 Florida, not Florida, number 7 Denver advancing on in the Summit League tournament. They beat number 6 Omaha yesterday in a game that really got testy down the stretch. It came down to a couple of last-second shots, but Tommy Bruner and Denver advance on. Frankie Fiddler and Omaha, their season is done. So Denver will take on number 1 South Dakota State here in the Denny Sanford Premier Center in the Summit League men's basketball title game. And we will have that one for you here pregame starting at 8:15 p.m. 8:30 is tip-off between the Pioneers and the Jackrabbits. Couple minutes till we get things started in the second half. We'll take one more break. When we come back, second half action for you here at the Denny Sanford Premier Center. You're listening to South Dakota State women's basketball on KSDJ.
When you're high, you feel different. You think different, you talk different, you draw different, you listen to music different, but you probably knew that. Problem is, you also drive different, and not in a good way. That's why driving high is illegal everywhere. So if you're high, just don't drive. Make a plan to get a sober ride. Because if you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Texting him back. I'm just posting a story. I'm just changing the song.
No. When it comes to distracted driving, just don't. Sending a text takes your eyes off the road for just 5 seconds, but in that time, your car can travel the length of an entire football field. Any distracted driving just isn't worth it.
Visit StopTextsStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. And now a speech.
I just want to say that friendship is about heart and brain. Who's with me?
Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
And my brain is saying, when it's time to go home, somebody call me a ride.
Love that guy.
Me too.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Hey, wouldn't it be great if life came with a remote control? You know, you could hit pause when you needed to, or hit rewind, like that time you knocked down that wasp's nest.
Uh-oh.
Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. To learn your risk, take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
22-20 the score here at halftime as we get ready to enter into the third quarter of the Summit League women's basketball title game. North Dakota State's going to start it off as they move left to right in their gold uniforms with green trim, lettering, and numerals. As I mentioned, they're working left to right, spinning inside the lane. Is going to be one Abby Schulte. She can't get the shot to go. It's going to fall down and come back to South Dakota State. They're winning right now by 2 points. Turnovers have plagued them all game. Right now, they're on pace to finish with just under. As I say that, there's one more right there. It gets thrown right into the Bison defense. They're on pace to finish with just under their season high. As inside, Paige Meyer's going to draw the foul. And it's going to be on Schulte. It's going to be her second foul, the first of the third quarter for NDSU. Coming back the other way. We're 40 seconds into the second half. No score yet. 22-20. The score that we left you off in the first half. Brooklyn Meyer standing at the point. She hands it off to Paige. Kind of a screen set by Brooklyn. Paige thought about the three, gives it over to Mesa Byam, who knocks it down from the right baseline. That extends the lead, tying the game high, 25-20. Lead for South Dakota State. Hamling has it on the right side, moves up to the top. Now she'll get it over on the right side to Schulte, gets it inside to Kraswinski, who puts a hook shot up over Byam. She puts it down 25-22. The score now, a 3-point lead for South Dakota State. Coming back the other way, Paige Meyer inside the arc, gives it to Mathewitz. Mathewitz hands it off to Brooklyn. Paige Meyer over on the left to Mathewitz. She tried to bounce it into Brooklyn Meyer. That gets kicked out of bounds by Schulte. So it'll stay with the Jackrabbits. 20 seconds on the shot clock. 8:25 left to go here in the third quarter. Nelson to inbound it right in front of us. Here opposite of the scores table and the Jackrabbit bench. Paige Meyer at the point, driving on the lane left, and she put it up a little bit too hard. She also fell a little bit too hard. Coming back the other way, going to be Schulte. Inside the lane, spinning around at the Summit League logo, and now inside to Kraswinski. She puts it up and in for two, and that gets them back within one, 25-24. 8 minutes remain in the third quarter. A standing Paige Meyer gives it to Brooklyn, standing at the point. Now back to Mathewitz at the top. Inside the wing, she put up a shot. It falls down to Brooklyn Meyer, who collects and puts it back up for two more. 27-24 now. Jackrabbit lead over Bison. On the left, going to be Evans. curling around to the point. Now she stops inside the wing, loses the basketball while falling down, and a foul called on South Dakota State. It's going to be on Nelson, her first, team's first of the third quarter. As Avery Conan will come into the game, Chris Winsky will take a seat. So an inbound finds its way up top to Conan, on the left to Hamling. Coming back on the curl is Schulte, standing at the point. On the right side now it's going to be Evans, driving inside through the lane. It hits the back iron and it falls down out of bounds. We're going to give it back to NDSU. As Evans will go to the end line to trigger it in. There's a high inbound up top to Schulte on the right side. Try to bounce it inside to Conan, and it goes out of bounds. The ball's been over on that side of the court for quite a while now, more than one would say would be average. The inbound gets into Draper. He gives it up top to Hamling. Standing at the point, now over to Draper. She thought about the three, decided to give it over on the right to Evans. Back at the top is going to be Schulte, driving inside and spinning, looking for somewhere to put it. She puts it off glass. It falls down, does the rebound to Conan. The ball gets the roll off of the back iron. It falls down, and she gets the foul. Byam gets the infraction called on her. The second of the third quarter. Byam's second. Period. And Conan converts the old-fashioned three-point play. 27-27, we're all tied up again. 6:50 left to go in the third quarter. This one may come down to the wire, not that anybody expected anything less between these two teams. Paige Meyer at the point. Nelson bounces it down low on the baseline to Brooklyn Meyer. She loses it. Hamling the other way, lays it up and in for two with the right-handed finger roll. Turnover's a problem. And they have 15 of them now. Paige Meyer standing on the left. NDSU leads it 29-27. Standing at the point now is Paige. She gets it inside the arc now. She'll go over to Byam on the right for three. She knocks it down and rattles it home. 30-29, the 1 point lead now. 6 minutes left to go in the third quarter. Now dribbling it up is Schulte. She'll give it over to Hamling on the right side. Dribbling inside the lane now, trying to spin around a double team of Mathewitz and Byam on her. She gets it up out of the arc now. Over to Conan. Nope, Evans. 21 and 22 are easily confused. Evans puts up a shot. Now Conan gathers. She turns around and puts it up. And a foul called. Mesa Byam gets called for her third as Ellie Colbeck will come back into the game for South Dakota State. Paige Meyer going to take a seat. And Byam's going to stay in there. So now Conan going to try and convert the and one as well. 31-30 the score. 5:36 left to go in the third. This one to put them up by two, and she gets it. 32-30. 6 free throws already here in the second half. Only 2 in the first half for North Dakota State. Colbeck standing at the top. Byam, now Mathewitz on the left side. She drives on the baseline. Puts it up, and a foul going to be called there. The officials get together and the call is made. It's going to be on L. Evans. Yeah, I was waiting for that. I thought the referee signaled 31, and I was like, there's no 31 on the NDSU roster. Mathewitz will stand at the line. 32-30 lead for the Bison, and the first one is good from Mathewitz. 32-31 now. 5:22 left to go in the third quarter. Mathewitz for the tie. She knocks it down. Knotted up at 32 here. 5:22 left to go in the third frame. As Jenna Hop's going to come in for Byam now, who takes a seat. She has 3 fouls for South Dakota State. Conan set to inbound it when the referee gives her the basketball. She gets it into Schulte. Slow dribble up the center of the court. Standing at the top, she'll hand it off now to Graham. Abby Graham for North Dakota State. Conan on the right side. Gives it over to Hamlin. Standing at the top, she pulls up for 3. That hits the rim, and the ball's ping-ponged around. Eventually goes out of bounds off of Nelson's hand. North Dakota State will keep it. As Hamlin will trigger it in. Inside now going to be Simon. She tried to get it off the left side. And another foul called on South Dakota State. The Bluebirds have once again made their way to Sioux Falls. Jackrabbit faithful not happy about the amount of fouls being called on SDSU. And there's a timeout on the floor. 32, we're tied here. Just under 5 minutes left to play in the third quarter. We step aside. You're listening to Jackrabbit Women's Basketball on KSDJ.
I'm Smokey Bear, and I made an assistant to help you out, because only you can prevent wildfires.
Hey, Assistant Smokey Bear. Call me Papa Bear, because I'm grilling up dinner. Do you get it?
Yes, good job.
So, what should I do with all these coals?
Don't just toss them out. Put them in a metal container because those embers can start a wildfire.
I understand. The stakes are high.
Ha, 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 ha.
Learn more at SmokeyBear.com.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Don't you wish your life came with a warning app?
Stop. That dog does not want to be petted.
A heads up before something bad happens.
You should not send that text.
Uh-oh. Life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes, you can reverse prediabetes and prevent or delay type 2 diabetes. To learn your risk, take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
They are our cuddlers and coworkers, purr machines and love bugs, and constant companions. They are our pets, our family, and they make life so much better. When we face unexpected challenges in life, so do our pets. That's why we're on a mission to support people who love their pets and the pets who love their people, ensuring these families stay exactly where they belong, together. And you have something to offer. With an open heart and mind, there is nothing you can't do. There's no gesture too small or too big when it comes to helping. Whether donating a bag of kibble, sharing an Instagram post of a lost cat, or welcoming a foster pet into your home, every bit of kindness counts. You can help keep pets and people together. Visit petsandpeopletogether.org to learn how to be a helper in your community. This has been a public service announcement brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
Walking into the building for the first time after the shooting, it was crippling, but it had to be preserved.
In response to the Pulse nightclub shooting that affected the LGBTQ community, Barbara Poma, owner of Pulse, founded the One Pulse Foundation to honor Pulse victims and survivors.
If you're an ally of this community, speak out. There are more of us together than apart. It is the power of love in its rawest form.
Join the fight for LGBTQ acceptance. Learn how at lovehasnolabels.com. Brought to you by Love Has No Labels and the Ad Council.
Hey, wouldn't it be great if
Knotted up at 32 here, just under 5 minutes left to play in the third quarter of this one, the Summit League Women's Basketball title game. Thanks for tuning in here on KSDJ. As my Riley Simon stands up to the line, looking to break this tie after the foul called on Brooklyn Meyer. And she does that. One foul One free throw down, one more to go for Simon. The second rims out. The rebound brought down by Nelson. She tried to turn around and give it back to Brooklyn. Got contested on that one, but the Jackrabbits somehow come down with it. Hop driving inside the lane. She tried to put it up on the reverse side. It goes out of bounds. And it'll be off North Dakota State. North Dakota State taking 13 shots from the field so far in this second half. 2 rebounds only for South Dakota State here in the second half. Long inbound up to Colbeck. She gets fouled as Hamlin was running into her while she was going up trying to catch the ball. So Hamlin's first, third for North Dakota State, and they'll inbound it side out on the opposite sideline. Bounces it into Paige Meyer. Allows them to set up a set. Standing on the right wing. Now gets it to Colbeck. Hop. The left side. Paige Meyer. Colbeck back to Paige and Hop on the left. 8-7 on the shot clock. Back to Paige Meyer inside the arc at the free throw line to Nelson. She barrels down, spinning around in the lane, and that gets blocked by Elle Evans in a shot clock violation on South Dakota State. Conan going to inbound it in for NDSU with 4:25 left on the third quarter clock. 33-32, a 1-point lead for NDSU. They look to extend it here. Handing off to Hamling. She'll give it over to Evans on the right side. Standing at the top now, she'll come around on the left side. She pulls up for a mid-range jumper. She knocks it down, and a 3-point lead now for NDSU, 35-32. Meyer will give it to Hop now. Nelson on the left, back to Paige at the top. Hop on the right, and Colbeck down further on the right. She looks for somewhere to get it, reverses it all the way back to Nelson standing on the left. She dribbles up towards the top and gives it off to Paige Meyer. 8 seconds on the shot clock. Nelson driving left baseline. She gets stopped, turns around, and gives it up to Paige. 3-2. Long 3 from Paige. She banks it in off the glass. She puts it in, and that ties it up 35-35. The pass almost gets tapped away from Evans. She's spinning around with it, dribbling the basketball. She goes around and hands it off to Schulte, and a timeout's going to be called by North Dakota State. 35-35, we're all tied up here. 3:13 left to go in the third quarter. And we'll go ahead and step aside. You're listening to South Dakota State women's basketball on KSDJ.
If life came with a remote control, you could hit pause when you needed to, or hit rewind, like that time you knocked down that wasp's nest.
Uh-oh.
Or that time you forgot to roll up your windows in the car wash.
Fantastic.
Yeah, a remote control would have come in handy then. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes like managing your weight, getting active, stopping smoking, and eating healthier, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. It's easy to learn your risk. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Life doesn't come with a remote control. Yikes! So you're on your own with the wasps. You have the power to take control of prediabetes. Visit doihaveprediabetes.org today. That's doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its Prediabetes Awareness Partners.
If I could be you.
And you could be me.
For just 1 hour.
If you could find a way.
To get inside.
Each other's mind.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
We've all felt left out. And for some, that feeling lasts more than a moment. We can change that. Learn how at belongingbeginswithus.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
Don't you wish your life came with a warning app?
Stop. That dog does not want to be petted.
Just a little heads up before something bad happens.
Move your coffee cup away from your computer.
Oh, no.
So you can have more control.
Stop. You're texting your boss by mistake.
Uh-oh. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes like managing your weight, getting active, stopping smoking, and eating healthier, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. It's easy to learn your risk. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org.
Warning, the cap is loose on that ketchup.
Ugh. Don't wait. You have the power to change the outcome. Visit doihaveprediabetes.org today. That's doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
.35 between number 1 and number 2, South Dakota State and North Dakota State. Coming out of a timeout here, North Dakota State took the timeout. Elle Evans set to inbound it here with 11 on the shot clock. 3:13 left to play here in the third quarter. Turnovers for South Dakota State in the game compared to North Dakota State's 8. Triggers it in now. It's going to be Schulte. She hands it off now to Conan, who gets the shot to go, puts it up 37-35. We tick past 3 minutes left to play here in the third quarter. Hop gives it to Colbeck. Colbeck standing at the point, gives it over to Nelson on the right side. Now down low, Hop inside. Down low to Brooklyn Myers. She takes a dribble and then sends it to Hop, puts it up and in for 2. The first bucket scored by a non-starter. The first bucket off the bench for South Dakota State in this game. 37-37, we're tied up. 2.5 minutes left to go in the third quarter. Now Evans has it on the left side. She pulls up for 3. That rims out. A whistle. Going to be away from the basketball. And a foul going to be on Avery Conan. It's going to be her second foul, team's 4th of the third quarter. So Nelson's going to inbound it. They have the length of the court to go here with 2:22 left in the quarter. Slow dribble up from Paige Meyer. She'll get it to Mathewitz, who gets it to Colbeck now. Colbeck to Nelson, standing on the right wing. Turns around and hands it off to Paige Meyer in the same spot. Gives it out to Mathewitz, cutting inside the lane, fade away. That hits the front of the rim. The rebound falls down to Conan. She outlets it now to Hamling. Dribbling up the court, she stands at the top, reverses and spins inside the lane. Puts up a shot, it bounces on the opposite sides of the rim and then falls down eventually to Byam. Mesa Byam having a good game on the board, 6 rebounds for her. Now coming back, Mathewitz inside the arc. The ball finds its way to Paige Meyer on the left for 3. She hits it in and it goes through the nylon. 40-37. A minute and a half left to go in the third quarter here. Inside, Conan bounces it. It's going to find its way outside the perimeter again. Evans on the left side kicks it out now to Schulte. Schulte driving inside the lane, puts it up. That hits the rim, and the rebound falls down again to Byam. She now has 7. Coming back the other way quickly, Paige Meyer puts it off the glass a little bit too hard, but gets fouled in the process. And the foul is going to be on Conan, a blocking foul. And so she'll go to the line. She'll take her shots in just a couple of seconds. Colbeck and Brooklyn Meyer coming back into the game for SDSU. $1:07 left to go in the third, 40-37. The first run from Meyer rims out. It's going to be no good for Meyer. The second one coming up in just a moment, 40-37. And she misses that one as well. The rebound's going to fall down to North Dakota State. Evans will get it over now to Schulte. Schulte gets it across the timeline, hands it off to Evans. We'll get it now to Krzyzewski now going down low, a block from Abby Draper. Is going to send it out of bounds. North Dakota State will keep it with 11 seconds left on the shot clock, 47.2 seconds left to go in the third. Meyer gets the block on that one. 9-8 on the shot clock. Now Evans on the left side. She bounces it to Graham. 2-1 on the shot clock on the left side. Evans puts it up. They say it went off too late, and a shot clock violation on North Dakota State. The bucket's not going to count. Still a 3-point lead for South Dakota State. 6 seconds separating the game clock and the shot clock. I got it right this time. I thought I messed it up, but I got it right. See, that's the problem. I get inside my own head. Past 30 seconds left to play in the third quarter now. Mathewitz standing at the top. She moves over with a right-handed dribble, now gives it to Brooklyn Meyer. Stopping, ball high above her head. She drives inside, backing down low. She puts it off glass, but gets fouled in the process. Abby Draper gets called for the foul. It's going to be her second, the fifth for North Dakota State here in the third quarter. As Brooklyn Meyer will head to the line. She has 8 points right now as we sit, 4 rebounds for her, 3 assists. Not a bad overall game for Brooklyn. The first one is going to hit the back iron and fall directly through the hoop. 41-37 now. And the second is going to bounce its way in on the front and the back. Tying its game-high lead is South Dakota State, 42-37, a 5-point lead. Now coming back the other way, spinning inside the lane, it's going to be Schulte. Spins around, she puts it off, banks it down. And a long shot from Paige Meyer was on target, just couldn't get enough behind it. And 42-39 is how we will enter in to the fourth quarter of this Summit League women's basketball title game. South Dakota State leads it over number 2 North Dakota State. We step aside. You're listening to Jackrabbit Women's Basketball on KSDJ.
Here's a fun fact for you. The average chameleon can point their eyes in 2 different directions. On the other hand, the average human can't. So unless you're a chameleon, there's absolutely no way you can focus on texting and driving at the same time. So don't do it, unless you're a chameleon.
Visit StopTextsStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
When you're high, you feel different. You think different, you talk different, you draw different, you listen to music different, but you probably knew that. Problem is, you also drive different, and not in a good way. That's why driving high is illegal everywhere. So if you're high, just don't drive. Make a plan to get a sober ride. Because if you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Just texting him back. I'm just posting a story. I'm just changing the song.
No. When it comes to distracted driving, just don't. Sending a text takes your eyes off the road for just 5 seconds, but in that time, your car can travel the length of an entire football field. Any distracted driving just isn't worth it.
Visit StopTextsStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. And now a speech.
I just want to say that friendship is about heart and brain. Who's with me?
Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
And my brain is saying, when it's time to go home, somebody call me a ride.
Love that guy.
Me too.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Hey, wouldn't it be great if life came with a remote?
42-39 as we enter into the fourth quarter here of the Summit League Women's Basketball title game. Number 1, South Dakota State leads it 42-39 over number 2, North Dakota State. It's been highly contested throughout. It's been a close game, back and forth at some points, and nothing else we would want in a conference championship game. Of course, the winner advancing on to the NCAA Women's Basketball Tournament, the automatic qualifier from the Summit League. Both teams still at their respective benches, while the SDSU Spirit Squad out on the floor, including, of course, Jack, the Jackrabbit. I mean, he's just having a grand old time skipping across. SDSU Pet Band playing in the background. 10 points for Madison Mathewitz, 10 points for Brooklyn Meyer, 12 points for Paige Meyer. Those three, again, hitting the double-digit mark for South Dakota State. 5 rebounds and 4 assists for Paige Meyer. By the way, her season high in rebounds is 8. We'll see if she can get there. On the other side, Elle Evans with 9 points, Abby Schulte with 6, as is Abby Krzyzewski with 6. Heaven Hamling also having 7 as well. Paige Meyer has the ball on the right side as we start this fourth quarter. Mathewitz at the top and Colbeck on the left. Bounces it down low to Brooklyn Meyer. Kicks off the glass and through the hoop for 2 more points. 44-39. She ties Paige Meyer. Both are at 12 in point totals. Now on the other side, Abby Draper. She's going to hand it off to Evans. Evans inside the arc. She'll get it to Krzyzewski, who gets it down low now to Draper. She goes through the lane, puts up a shot, gets fouled in the process. I'm sure she was hoping that she would get the bucket as well, but she'll take the free throws. She'll go to the line as Colbeck gets called for her second foul of the game, the first in the fourth quarter for South Dakota State. Draper's first is going to hit. Gets him back within 4, 44-40 the score. 9:29 left on the clock here in this one. The second is good as well, 44-41. Coming back the other way, slow dribble up the court for Paige. Gets it to Colbeck. Over on the left to Paige Meyer. Stepping and pulls up for 3 on the left side. That's a little bit too strong. Gets her own rebound, driving to the back. Kick over on the right side to Mathewitz. She hits the back iron. And that'll fall out to Hamling. Good looks all around. Just couldn't knock them down. 9 minutes left to go in the fourth quarter now. Krzyzewski driving on the left side. Puts it off glass too hard. And it falls down to Mathewitz. Pushes it up to Nelson, who's standing on the left wing now. Paige Meyer standing at the top. Decides to drive straight through the lane. Puts it up over the basket too hard. And it's brought down by Evans. Evans now, cross-court pass to Hamling. She pulls up for 3, and she misses the bucket entirely. Brought down by Colbeck. And gets it to Paige Meyer. Airball chant again coming here. I think we've had it in every single game. The other team has had an airball. Of course, we've had a couple as well, so can't fault them. The Jackrabbit fans are just more boisterous. Paige Meyer kick out. Nelson on the right for 3. That rims out and falls down to Hamling. Hamling behind her to Evans. Up top to Draper for 3. Back irons off, and it's tipped, and it's going to be brought down by Evans. She gets a lucky break there, and Hamling will have it back at the top. 44-41 still. We passed 8 minutes left to play in the fourth quarter. Driving inside the wing is Hamling. Gets it up top to Draper. Now on the right side is going to be Evans. Down low to Krzyzewski. Backing herself down now. Tried to put it up. It hits the side of the rim. And falling down while getting the rebound is Nelson. And a foul is going to be called on Krzyzewski. It's going to be her second. The first foul on NDSU in the fourth. And we have 7:44 left to go in the fourth quarter. And it's 44-41. South Dakota State with the advantage. Paige Meyer gets it to Byam. Now Mathewitz on the left side. Dribbling up near the point. Looks to get it to Paige Meyer on the left. Down low on the left baseline is Brooklyn Meyer. Getting inside the lane now. Spinning. Trying to get a shot off. She does. And she gets it. And she gets the foul. Brooklyn Meyer gets 2 more points. That puts her at 14, and she gets a chance to move it to 15 with an and one shot here. The shot from Meyer is good. She rattles it home. It's 47-41 now. 7:20 left to go in the fourth quarter. NDSU coming back the other way. They have not scored in 2 minutes of game time. Evans bounces it. Now to Draper, gives it back to Evans on the left side. She tries to cut inside the lane. Now she'll get it to Hamling. Over on the left elbow is Draper. 6 on the shot clock. Inside the lane now. Kicks it out to Hamling. She's driving a reverse lay-in. Not good. And a foul going to be called on the inside by either Brooklyn Meyer or Mesa Byam. It's going to be Brooklyn. She gets her second, the team's second of the fourth quarter, and Hamling rattles the free throw home. 47-42 the score now. 5 seconds under 7 minutes left in the game. The second from Hamling is good as well. Four-point lead for South Dakota State as they come back the other way. Paige Meyer will hand it off to Mathewitz. Back behind her to Colbeck over on the left side to Paige Meyer. Down low to Brooklyn Meyer. Looking for somewhere to get it off to. Inside the lane. Tries to spin it around. Puts it off glass. It doesn't get the kind roll. And it bounces out off the rim. Straight into the arms of Hamling. Now back the other way. Standing at the top. A 3-ball from her. And she knocks it down. Gets them back within one. A 47-46 game. As we tick down to 6:20 left to go in the fourth quarter, and a timeout called by South Dakota State. With that timeout, we'll also take it with them. 47-46, a 1-point game. We step aside. You're listening to Jackrabbit Women's Basketball on KSDJ.
Control. You know, you could hit pause when you needed to, or hit rewind, like that time you knocked down that wasp's nest.
Uh-oh.
Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. To learn your risk, take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
I'm Smokey Bear, and I made an assistant to help you out, because only you can prevent wildfires.
Hey, Assistant Smokey Bear, call me Papa Bear, because I'm grilling up dinner. Do you get it?
Yes, good job.
So, what should I do with all these coals?
Don't just toss them out. Put them in a metal container because those embers can start a wildfire.
I understand. The stakes are high.
Ha, 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 ha.
Learn more at SmokeyBear.com.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Don't you wish your life came with a warning app?
Stop. That dog does not want to be petted.
A heads up before something bad happens.
You should not send that text.
Uh-oh. Life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes, you can reverse prediabetes and prevent or delay type 2 diabetes. To learn your risk, take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
They are our cuddlers and coworkers, purr machines and love bugs, and constant companions. They are our pets, our family, and they make life so much better. When we face unexpected challenges in life, so do our pets. That's why we're on a mission to support people who love their pets, and the pets who love their people, ensuring these families stay exactly where they belong, together. And you have something to offer. With an open heart and mind, there is nothing you can't do. There's no gesture too small or too big when it comes to helping. Whether donating a bag of kibble, sharing an Instagram post of a lost cat, or welcoming a foster pet into your home, every bit of kindness counts. You can help keep pets and people together. Visit petsandpeopletogether.org to learn how to be a helper in your community. This has been a public service announcement brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
(47-46), a one-point game between number 1 South Dakota State and number 2 North Dakota State. Here at the Denny Sanford Premier Center, the Summit League Women's Basketball Championship game. Winner moves on to the NCAA Women's Basketball Tournament. Selection Sunday, just a little bit under a week away, where the winner of this game will figure out where they'll be playing and who they'll be playing. Paige Meyer on the right side, up top to Mathewitz. Standing at the point, she gives it over to Colbeck on the left side. Stopping and giving it up to Byam. Now on the right side is Paige Meyer once again. Shot clock down to 8. Mathewitz standing at the top, driving inside the lane, pulling up mid-range. That's no good. Rebound caroms off and falls down to Evans. Coming back the other way, handling. Paige Meyer steals it away. She's coming on the right side and lays it up and in for 2 more. Nice anticipation from Paige Meyer to jump the pass that was intended for Hamling. And that puts him back up 3 with 5:40 left to go in the fourth quarter. Some of the Jackrabbit fans rising to their feet here at the Denny Sanford Premier Center. Now coming back the other way, Schulte will give it up to Evans on the left side. Stepping back, she takes a running start at it. She thought about driving it down the lane. She tried to bounce it between a couple of Jackrabbit defenders. Colbeck comes up with it. Gives it over to Paige Meyer, and a turnover on North Dakota State. Coming back the other way is Paige. She's driving right baseline. She almost put it up. Turning around, Brooklyn Meyer got the rebound, not able to get the shot to go, and the Jackrabbits come up with no points on that madhouse of a possession. Now on the other end, Evans pulls up for 3. That hits the rim, and the rebound brought down by Byam. It's going to be her 8th rebound of the game, and folks, she's officially on double-double watch. 6 points, 8 rebounds. She's got the harder one out of the way. She just needs to score a couple of buckets. Colbeck on the right side to Mathewitz. Bounces it to Brooklyn. Gets it down low to Byam. Puts it up and in. It bounces around and goes down for 2. Gets the foul call as well. She'll go to the line and look to convert the and 1.
Nice
51-46 the score, 8 points for Byam. She stands at the line. It bounces around and it goes down. 52-46, 9 points and 8 rebounds now for Mesa Byam. Schulte has it into the front court. She gives it over on the left. Now Evans has it. She drives lane left. She put up a shot way over the basket. Mathewitz comes up with the rebound cleanly. Paige Meyer goes into the front court. A lot of contact on Hamling. Mathewitz has it, gives it back to Brooklyn. Up top to Byam. Is now on the floor. Evans looking like she might have a bloody nose. She's holding her hand as such to cup the blood from dropping on the floor. As the trainer comes out, puts a towel to her face. As both teams will separate and go to both their benches. As another person comes out and sprays the floor to make sure that the blood is indeed gone from the playing surface. Here at the Denny Sanford Premier Center. So while they tend to Evans, a play being drawn up by both Aaron Johnston and Jory Collins. AJ, of course, South Dakota State. Collins of North Dakota State. North Dakota State has never made an appearance in the NCAA tournament. At least for sure as a Division I program. I can't speak for the Division II days or the NAIA days as well. But this season, their best finish in a Summit League regular season. So as the teams break, they're going to get set to inbound it at the three-point line, extended. Side out right in front of us. Mesa Byam going to do the honors. Gets it into Nelson. She's inside the arc, spinning around, driving through the lane, and a reverse lay-in for two more. 54-46, the highest lead of the night for South Dakota State. North Dakota State has not scored in 2.5 minutes. 8-point lead for SDSU. Hamling pulls up for three, rims off, and it falls down to Brooklyn Meyer. Brooklyn Meyer, she has 15 points and 6 rebounds now. Also has 4 assists. What an all-around great game for her in this Summit League women's basketball title game. Of course, the Summit League Player of the Year. Nelson standing on the left, gets it up top to Paige Meyer on Mathewitz on the right. Back to Paige Meyer, 8 seconds on the shot clock. Mathewitz at the point, bounces it inside the arc to Brooklyn Meyer. Kick out Paige Meyer, left side three. Back irons off. Byam gets the rebound there. That gets her to 9. 9 rebounds for her, 9 points as well. Spinning it around as Paige Meyer holds it near the half-court circle. Standing at the top, driving down the lane, spinning around, bounces it to Mathewitz out on the right. Nelson for 3. She hits it, an 11-point lead for South Dakota State. Aaron Johnston's out there fist pumping at the half-court line. A 7-0 run for SDSU, a 57-46 lead as a timeout's called by North Dakota State. All around great performances. If I were picking a player of the game, it really would be hard to pick one, but Paige Meyer has 14 points, 6 rebounds, 2 away from her season high. Brooklyn Meyer, 15 points, 6 rebounds for her, but she also has 4 assists. Paige Meyer also has 4 assists as well. But then we got Mesa Byam, who's 1 point away and 1 rebound away from a double-double. Definitely a full team effort here, and you can't discredit North Dakota State either. 12 points from Heaven Hamling, 8 for Avery Conan, 9 for Elle Evans, who's on the bench with a bloody nose. Hamling pulls up for 3. That back iron's off. Rebound falls down to Mathewitz. Outlets it now to Paige Meyer. She has a full head of steam coming into the front court. 2.5 minutes left to play in the Summit League women's basketball title game. A whistle and a foul going to be called on Hamling. The 4th for North Dakota State. The 2nd for Hamling. And a 10-0 run for South Dakota State has put them up 57-46. Byam inbounds it now into Tori Nelson inside the arc. She dribbles it out to the perimeter to waste as much time as possible. 2:19 on the clock now. She turns around, hands it off behind her to Mathewitz. Standing at the half-court line, she goes up to the point, turns around, hands it off to Paige Meyer, and a timeout called by Aaron Johnston in South Dakota State. 9 seconds left to go on the shot clock. 2 minutes and 10 seconds left to go in the game. And the biggest lead of the night for South Dakota State, 11 points, is where we currently sit. Something that's helping the 10-0 run, of course, being the 4-minute and 20-second scoring drought by North Dakota State, and they just haven't been able to hit as of late, missing their last 4 shots. Again, 57-46 the score, 2:10 left to go in the fourth. Byam to inbound. Bounces it into Nelson. She's outside the arc. She spins around 6, 5, 4 inside. She drives in through the wing. She puts it up off the glass for 2 more. 59-46, a new game high. Now on the left is going to be Schulte, who misses a 3. Excuse me, that's going to be Conan. I bet on that one. Paige Meyer diving forward. She gets tripped up as well, loses the basketball, but a whistle and a foul is going to be called. Nelson slowly limping over towards the bench as well. Not slowly, but you can tell she has a little limp to her. As she comes off and a substitution comes in, Ellie Colbeck, I believe, will be the one that comes in for Nelson, as she's going to go ahead and get looked at. 59-46. Paige Meyer's free throw will go up and good. The foul, by the way, on Hamling, her third. And that'll advance it to a 13-0 run as we sit. Make it a 14-0 run, 61-46. Hamling at the top. Under 2 minutes left to play in the Summit League women's basketball title game. In Lowy, she gets her own rebound, she puts it back up, and she gets 2 points. That'll break the run at 14-0. It'll make it a 14-2 run as we sit. $1:21 left to go, and Paige Meyer again on the ground. She must like this floor or something like that. I mean, she just always finds a way to get there. As she's going to come back and shoot 2. Abby Schulte, the one that fouls her on that one. 3 fouls on her. And Meyer will knock down the first one, 62-48. The second one from Meyer is good. Now coming back the other way, Hamling across the timeline now. $1:15 left to go in the game. Hamling driving down the lane. She tries to put up a shot, not able to get it to go, but a whistle and a foul called on Mesa Byam. Going to be her 4th and the team's 3rd. So Byam 4 fouls, 9 points, 9 rebounds, as Hamling will stand at the line. The first one is up and good, 63-49 now. 1:13 remaining in the fourth quarter. And that'll get the lead down to 13 now, 63-50. $1:13, as I mentioned. Mathewitz gets it into Colbeck. She gets it up top to Paige Meyer. Now across the timeline. She comes to the near sideline. NDSU trying to foul. Gets up to the half-court line. Yep, and now they'll get it in there, and an intentional foul coming on Abby Schulte. It's going to be her 4th, as Mathewitz will head to the line now. She is a quiet 10 points. 2 3-pointers, 6 rebounds for her as well, as the first one is good for Mathewitz. 64-50. Really a great game on rebounds for this South Dakota State team. I mean, we've multiple that are in the upper half of the 10s as the second one's made for South Dakota State. 65-50, a 15-point lead, the game high. Coming right, Hamlin is going to get fouled as she was driving down the wing. As Paige Meyer is going to put Hamling at the line. It's going to be Meyer's first foul of the game. It's going to be the 4th for South Dakota State, and Hamling stands at the line, spins the basketball in the first, bounces around and falls out. 55.6 seconds. We're less than a minute away from this one being over. The second one from Hamling. That one rattles out too. The rebound falls down to Mathewitz, but a whistle and another foul is called. As is a timeout called, I think, but both the teams are just staying on the floor. It's not like an actual timeout where both teams are going to the bench. The 5 that are out on the floor are surrounding both of their coaches here. 65-50, a 15-point lead. I'm not saying it can't be done, but North Dakota State is in a little bit of a hole here, with South Dakota State's largest lead of the day. It's not quite night yet. Still got about a half an hour till I consider it evening. 6 o'clock, that's a good threshold, right? Of course it is. 54 and a half seconds left.
Thank you for your consideration.
Both teams will break the huddles and come back out. Elle Evans back into the game. After exiting with a bloody nose, we'll get it out to Schulte on the left wing. Now, Conan standing at the top. Hamling tries to get it into Evans. She does. She puts it off glass and down for 2 more. 65-52. An inbound into Paige Meyer, a double team on her. She tries to get away from it. Inbound into the front court. Mesa Byam completely open, puts it up and down for her 11th points of the game. Now just 1 rebound away from a double-double. About a half a minute left to go in this one. Evans at the top. She pulls up for 3. That misses. Evans collects and puts it down for 2. 67-54. As NDSU will now bring some substitutions in. Taryn Hamling, the little sister of Heaven Hamling. We also have Leah McKenzie, who we did see before in this game, from Melbourne, Australia. It's a little bit of ways from Fargo. 24 and a half seconds left to go. The shot clock is off. Paige Meyer has it in the backcourt, dribbling past McKenzie. Into the front court now, and the Jackrabbits are content to dribble this one out. 67-54 going to be the final score. Smiles all around on the sideline and the players on the floor. 4, 3, 2. And the South Dakota State Jackrabbits are headed back to the NCAA Women's Basketball Tournament. Back-to-back seasons, they've run the table in this regular season Summit League schedule. And they continue the momentum through the tournament, winning the Summit League regular season title and the Summit League tournament title. And they now have the right to go and play as the Summit League's automatic qualifier in the NCAA tournament. We'll step aside here, 67-54, the final score. We'll have a look at the final numbers. Update on softball, and then we'll get you geared up for tonight's Summit League Men's Basketball Championship between number 1 South Dakota State and number 7 Denver. But here, 67-54, your South Dakota State Jackrabbits are Summit League champions. You're listening to Jackrabbit Women's Basketball on KSDJ.
Hey, wouldn't it be great if life came with a remote control? You know, you could hit pause when you needed to, or hit rewind. Like that time you knocked down that wasp's nest.
Uh-oh.
Or that time you forgot to roll up your windows in the car wash.
Fantastic.
Yeah, a remote control would have come in handy then. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome. But prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes like managing your weight, getting active, stopping smoking, and eating healthier, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. It's easy to learn your risk. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Life doesn't come with a remote control.
Yikes!
So you're on your own with the wasps. You have the power to take control of prediabetes. Visit doihaveprediabetes.org today. That's doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its Prediabetes Awareness Partners.
If I could be you.
And you could be me?
For just 1 hour.
If you could find a way
To get inside.
Each other's mind.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
We've all felt left out. And for some, that feeling lasts more than a moment. We can change that. Learn how at belongingbeginswithus.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
Don't you wish your life came with a warning app?
Stop. That dog does not want to be petted.
Just a little heads up before something bad happens.
Move your coffee cup away from your computer.
Oh, no.
So you can have more control.
Stop. You're texting your boss by mistake.
Uh-oh. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes like managing your weight, getting active, stopping smoking, and eating healthier, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. It's easy to learn your risk. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org.
Warning. The cap is loose on that ketchup.
Don't wait. You have the power to change the outcome. Visit doihaveprediabetes.org today. That's doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its Prediabetes Awareness Partners.
Here's a fun fact for you. The average chameleon can point their eyes in 2 different directions. On the other hand, the average human can't. So unless you're a chameleon, there's absolutely no way you can focus on texting and driving at the same time. So don't do it. Unless you're a chameleon.
Visit StopTextsStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
South Dakota State gets it done 67-54. The final score in the Summit League women's basketball title game. Number 1, South Dakota State over number 2, North Dakota State. And the Jackrabbit women's basketball team will head to the NCAA tournament. They'll figure out their location and opponent on Sunday, Selection Sunday to be exact, but today's Title Tuesday, and they're going to go ahead and celebrate out here on the court at the Denny Sanford Premier Center. Time to take a look at the final numbers for both of these teams. North Dakota State, Heaven Hamling finishing with 16 points, 13 for Elle Evans. Hamling had shooting 5 of 18, 6 rebounds for her, 3 assists, 2 turnovers, and 2 steals. Elle Evans, by the way, 13 total points, 6 of 18 shooting, 5 rebounds, 1 assist, 4 turnovers, and 2 steals. As a team, they shot 21 of 64 for 32.8%, 3 of 18 from long range, and 9 of 12 on free throws, 33 rebounds, 6 assists, 11 turnovers, and 8 steals. For South Dakota State, the leading scorer there, Paige Meyer, 18 points for her, 5 of 11 shooting. She finished with 7 rebounds, 1 shy of her season high of 8, 4 turnovers, 1 steal. Behind her was Brooklyn Meyer with 15 points, 6 of 12 shooting, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, 4 turnovers, and 3 blocked shots. 12 points for Maddie Mathewitz, 3 of 9 shooting, 6 rebounds for her, 1 assist, 2 turnovers, and no steals for Mathewitz, and 11 points for Mesa Byam. 4 of 5 on field goals, 9 rebounds. Just 1 rebound shy of a double-double. 1 turnover and 1 steal was by him. 14.2% shooting from the field. 23 of 52. Did not take near as many shots as NDSU. 8 of 17 on 3 and 13 of 16 for 81.3%. 38 total rebounds, 15 assists, 16 turnovers, 13 steals. SDSU led by as many as 15, 7 lead changes, 6 ties, and SDSU ended up getting the lead in time with the lead, 19-35 in the game. 13 points from turnovers versus NDSU's 10, 30 points in the paint from SDSU, 34 for North Dakota State, and 15 second chance points versus SDSU's 5. At halftime, it was 22-20, and the final score here in Sioux Falls, 67-54. South Dakota State will head to the NCAA tournament here in about a week or so time. An overall great rebounding game for this team, and really a team effort getting to this point and winning the Summit League tournament, especially when you take into account the amount of injuries this team endured. 2 starters left off the team at the beginning of the season with season-ending injuries. Another one that was going to play valuable minutes off the bench. All of them out for the season right at the start, and then halfway through the conference season, losing another one. A big blow to this team. They never wavered, never lost a single game in Summit League play, and now they're standing at the top of the mountain as Summit League champions. As Aaron Johnston receives the game ball from Commissioner of the Summit League, Josh Fenton. As the team celebrates on the stage. The confetti goes everywhere. And they celebrate this championship. Josh Fenton handing the trophy to Paige Meyer, who lifts it up in the air, and more confetti flies everywhere. As the team lifts up the banner, the 2024 Women's Basketball Champion.
Once again, South Dakota State's MVP, Paige Meyer.
Paige Myers, Summit League Tournament MVP. Going to Paige Meyer as she gets the most valuable player basketball as she signs it here, as Josh Fenton will pose for a picture with her.
The NCAA selection show on Sunday, March 17th, and find out where South Dakota State will be headed. It's time for the champion Jackrabbits to cut down the nets. Ladies, the nets are yours.
So the Jackrabbit women's basketball team going to cut down the nets here as the all-tournament team is put up on the scoreboard. Brooklyn Meyer, Paige Meyer, and Madison Mathowitz from South Dakota State making the all-tournament team. Heaven Hamling and Elle Evans of North Dakota State rounding out the 5 that earned the honor. The team's going to cut down the nets here and celebrate as well. Let's go ahead and take a look at some scores from around at Jackrabbit. Athletic department, of course, 11-5, number 16 Florida State over South Dakota State in the game 1 of the softball doubleheader earlier today, and a final 8-0 Florida State defeating South Dakota State in Game 2, so they get swept by the Seminoles there. But the women's basketball team going to celebrate here in Sioux Falls, and that's going to do it for us here. A final score of 67-54. Number 1 South Dakota State defeats number 2 North Dakota State, and the Jackrabbits are going dancing for the second year in a row. Just a reminder, we'll be back in a couple of hours' time. Pre-game starting at 8:15. Tip-off around 8:30 for the Summit League Men's Basketball Championship game between number 1 South Dakota State and number 7 Denver. Again, 8:15 pre-game, 8:30 is tip-off. So once again, that's going to do it for us here. Thank you all for tuning in from Sioux Falls. This has been Braden Byers, Jordan Raditz, Marshall Monahan with me. We say so long from Sioux Falls. We'll be back in a couple of hours. You're listening to Jackrabbit Basketball on KSDJ.
A very special thanks to the